Hi everyone, and welcome to Tuesday, where we take a look at the performance of the New Zealand Stock Exchange for the past week. There's certainly been a lot of volatility in the markets, so we'll take a look and see how our main board has been performing. But before I do, just remember that this is for educational purposes only, certainly not intended to be personalised financial advice. For that, you do need to go and talk to your own financial advisor. Right, let's take a look. Okay, so I've got the main board up here on the screen for the NZ50, and like most indices around the world, it did close down last week. You can see here that it had a high of about 12,200 points, and that was pretty much where it opened, and it closed at just over $12,019, if you like, or points, however you want to look at it. So very, very close to 4. So even though the week before the market opened at 12,225 and closed at 12,019, that's exactly the level that it closed for this last week as well. The interesting thing that you can see here is there is very little volume on the selling. So down the bottom here is the volume chart. So when you see these really big spikes in volume, obviously there is a lot of activity, and potentially in this sort of environment, a lot of fear in the market as well. So interesting to see that there was very little volume, if you like, in the market. In fact, the week that had a lot of volume, was about 18,700,000 odd shares traded. Whereas that was last week, whereas the week before, you're looking at about 221 million. That is a lot of volume going through. Let's take a look at the yearly chart, and just for that, it brings it up to a daily basis. And you can see here. So on the the Friday, there was a huge sell-off, and sort of no surprises there. It happened globally. Then our market, we had on Monday that was Monday, beg your pardon, Monday on the 7th of April, there was a huge sell-off, and we certainly saw that globally impact on what actually happened in the States on Friday. But of course, our market was closed on the States Friday, being a Saturday, so it opened on our Monday, and it just reflected what happened. The next day, the Tuesday, we saw a little bit of upward momentum, nothing exciting. Wednesday, obviously the market was down a little bit. Again, not a lot of movement. But then on Thursday, look at this. This was a huge candle, and in fact, there was 24,700,000 shares traded on that particular day. So there was a lot of buying, which is good for our market. And then on Friday, again, there was a bit of sell-off, but the volume levels went high. They were about 18 million, just under 18,800,000. So not heaps of volume, which is interesting. And why I say that's interesting, because when I looked at the Australian market and also the US market for last week, both markets were very, very volatile, bouncing around like crazy. But interestingly, that our market didn't appear to be as affected as hard, if you like, as those two countries. And I also noted with the shares that I own, New Zealand market, there's only been one that I have been kicked out of so far. A couple are getting quite close, but only one that I've been kicked out of. But we are clearly in a downtrend. There's no denying that. So I'll go back to the 5-year chart, and you can see that here we're in a definite downtrend. I'm just going to put on the 200 period moving average, and that just gives you an overall trend as to where the market is. We got that on. And so the market is at this stage still above that 200-week moving average, but it's certainly come down close to it. So it'll be interesting to see where to from here. Like, I'm certainly not into predicting markets. I'd far rather let the charts tell me. So that is interesting that we are trading above that 200-week moving average, even though we've had certainly 3 weeks in a row the market has been down. Let's just change this, and we will go back to our normal 30 exponential, and no surprises here, the market is below the 30. And we will also pop on the 15-week moving average, just so we can see exactly what's happening with these indicators. So you can see here the market has definitely crossed. We've got that dead cross happening. So that's where the 15-week moving average crosses through the 30 and the market is trading below that. So for that, to me, I said it last week and I've said it before, this is a sign of caution. So for me, I'm definitely not entering into new trades. Okay, I want to wait and see when the market, like this period here, is trading above both of those moving averages. So that's when I would then start looking for individual shares. At this stage, we're just looking at a high level, which is obviously just the main indices. So yeah, no new trades for me this week. I still have positions in the market, and those ones that are there, I'm letting run. In fact, there were a couple that ended up being up for the week, which was great, but no new trades. So I hope that's helping. I'll just stop sharing and come back on Thursday. We're going to take a look at Mainfreight and see how that company has been performing over the last wee while. And remember, if there are any shares that you'd like me to review, pop them in the comments or direct message me. Or if there is anything you'd like to learn about share trading, happy to do a video on that and post it up on here. So love to hear from you. Until next week, take care.